Today, I will be demonstrating sharpening these customized shears and why these are so important to be sharpened correctly. And I'll be sharing with you the inspirational story of Larissa, the young lady that owns these shears, who's had her fingers tragically amputated. And so we have to customize the shears, and the continuation of the story, how I was able to connect her with Grace Horne of Sheffield, England, the renowned custom scissor craftsman, professor at the university there in Sheffield. How we all came together when she was here in Atlanta for the Blade Show. And she was the only, I think she was the only female speaker at the Blade Show. And we just had this amazing opportunity. I'm going to tell you the story as I'm sharpening, and I'll tell you Larissa's story, and I'll tell you a little bit about what I know about Grace Horne and some of the stories she told me. And just follow along with me on this journey. So I'm not going to be talking a lot about how I'm sharpening these, because I want you to hear the story, how these shears came about, a little bit of Larissa's story, and then how Grace Horne came to be a part of this. These shears, I will say, I will try to take off the least amount of metal possible. These are 12 years old, and she uses them in the salon. Larissa is not just a handicapped stylist, she is a very talented hairstylist who happens to have an injury to her hand. So I'm going to go through this, and I'll tell you first of all about Larissa's story. I have a video, I'll put a link at the end where she tells her story herself. But Larissa, like so many of us when we're young, she just made bad choices on relationships. Don't let me get distracted here. Let me see how they cut to begin with. Larissa said she'd been doing hair since she was like 12 years old. She just loves to do hair. And yeah, it doesn't cut at the tip. Loves doing hair. And she had bad relationship. Boyfriend shot her. And she has a bad scar on her arm. And she put up her hand to kind of protect her face and lost all these fingers here. And the doctors were able to save her thumb. So she has a really good use of her thumb. And they were able to kind of help her so she has a little bit of a, she has a pretty good grip, just she doesn't have those fingers. And so she thought her whole choice in life of becoming a hairstylist was over. And it was her grandmother said, no, if this is what God has called you to do, if this is the creative impulse that he gave you, stay with it. So she went to Empire Beauty School over in Dunwoody, and I think the school contacted me. I'm not really sure how the connection came about. I believe they did. And said, we need to come up, she's here in school, and we need to come up with some type of shears that she can use. And also the state of Georgia and some kind of rehab thing helped with the expense of this. And at the time, Casper Kaiser, this was after Eichert had been sold to the Oster Company, and they were still making shears in McMinnville, Tennessee, and Casper Kaiser was over the factory. And I contacted Casper, and we came up with this design. But you see this elastic thing? We tried, I bet, 1 million different things for a strap. And tried elastic and leather. And she needs something because it does get wet. And that was easy. And then I came up with this ponytail holder. That was actually my idea that came about. And these are our Bonika shears, by the way. But the ponytail holder has worked over the years. And I've asked her, I said, well, have you had to replace it a lot? And she says, no. So that's kind of surprising. These, if you've never seen these, they're the ones that you kind of hook in the hair and then you wrap it around as many times. At the time, my friend Christina Carcilla was using these a lot. She's done some platform work with us. So all these relationships make a difference. So Casper was able to fashion and change the shape and cut off the finger holes on this shear. Put these little hooks in here for the elastic. And they've worked for her. And he's made, I think she's got like 2 other shears like this, maybe 3. But she said that this is her favorite one, and she'd like to have this length replaced. Anyway, so back to my story. So Casper made these shears, and then Larissa called me 2 Fridays ago, just recently. So Larissa called me and said she'd gotten out of hair a little bit, but she misses it and she's getting back into it, and she'd like another pair of shears. But she, is there any way I could get something that's prettier? And I said, well, let's see. And Casper wasn't around to make these. And so I put like a call out on Facebook to some other sharpeners about what I needed done. I mean, I guess I could have figured it out myself, but there may be other people that are more capable of doing this. And then one of the people I got in touch with is Luis Raposo, who is in Madrid, Spain. And Lois I knows really well. We met him when we were in person, when we were in Germany, when I was doing the training with the Jaguar factory. And he's always posting on our Sharpeners Jam group on Facebook, things that he's created or made. He just eats, lives, thinks, drinks sharpening. So I contacted him about doing these shears, and he was like, no, you need to get in touch with Grace Horne. And I'm like, who's Grace Horne? I don't want to get in touch with Grace Horne. I want you to fix these for me, Lois. And he's like, no, you need to get in touch with Grace Horne. She's in Sheffield. I'm like, well, that's nice, but she's not in the USA. And I was really reluctant to get in touch with her. Then he says, I've sent her the video and she's waiting for you to call, and you've got to get back in touch with her like now. And reluctantly, I got in touch with her. I'm having trouble getting a burr right here at that point there. I'm going to do a stroke or 2 here. So I didn't call her. I just sent her a message. And she immediately messaged me back and said she's going to be in Atlanta at the Blade Show this weekend. So this was Friday was when Larissa called me. This was Monday. I was in touch with Lois, and when I got in touch with Grace, and she said, I'll be there. I'm coming in on Wednesday. That quick. So the other thing I didn't mention is, and some of you will laugh at this, and then some of you will like, oh yeah, that makes sense, is I use a prayer app on my tablet. It's called Prayer Mate, which I highly recommend it. You can put in things to pray for, and it'll kind of just roll them through randomly or not randomly, however you set it up. That Rideline's looking good. And at the day that Larissa called me, her name popped up to pray for. So I just thought that was kind of really, I don't believe in coincidences, and Grace coming to Atlanta during this whole time frame too, that was another, in my opinion, non-coincidence. So I'm set at 45. I'm going to leave it at 45. This is a worn 400 cushion plate on here. I think that's what I want to use. So I started researching Grace. Talked to her a little bit on the phone and started researching her. and there was some YouTube videos about her. And she's not a manufacturer. She is a scissor craftsman. Works in some of the knife where the custom knives are made, and some of the custom scissors, and done some apprenticing with them. Just interesting story. She's written 4 books. I don't know if any of them are published. I can't wait till when they are published. I'll try to make them available to you, or where to get them. And I've got a burr from here down. I don't have a burr at the tip. She's got a PhD in metal crafting for making knives. What got her into scissors was she was making one of those, like a Swiss Army knife type of thing, and needed to make the little scissors in there, needed to know more about making the scissors. And that's what got her into. Now she's kind of passionate about making shears, or scissors, which is what they call them in England. And can I be honest with you? I was quite jealous. Yes, because I thought I was the most famous red-headed scissor person, female scissor person on YouTube, but I think she's better known than I am. And I was appalled. I didn't know who she was. When I met her, she said she knew who I was. But I guess it's growing up an only child. I kind of used to being like #1 to everybody. My husband can tell you that. I'm still making sure I've got a good burr. I mean, I know I don't want to miss it. So she is a super sweet, gracious lady. We met her while she was here in Atlanta speaking at the Blade Show. Well, not while she was speaking, but she met us after she spoke. And I'm sorry I didn't get to go to the Blade Show. Back in my earlier life, before I got into shears, like Grace, I was into knives, but I worked for a knife warehouse, and my boss used to go to the Blade Show, and once in a while I'd get to go. Most of the time I had to run the office while he was there. But that's the largest knife show in the world, and she was here. So we got to meet her. She worked with Larissa, held Larissa's hand, asked her a lot of questions, looked at what we had already made. I gave her a 6-inch twister, Bonika twister, for her to modify, because she's not going to make the blade. She's just going to concentrate on the handle. She said she really didn't get into the modern designs of the shear edges and blades. She did tell me some interesting stories about scissors in the early part of England's history, right after the Industrial Revolution, that the census would show, what different people's jobs were, and that there was a huge number of women in the poorer areas of London, I guess Jack the Ripper areas, that there were seamstress. And she said there really shouldn't have been that many seamstress in that area. And the theory is, I'm still not getting the burr. That's why I'm doing it at 1,000. I didn't switch back to 400. The theory is that it's always been, unlike in the United States, carrying knives as a weapon, or even as utility knives, have had restrictions on it. But if you were a seamstress, you could carry shears with you, or carry scissors with you. And so it's believed that the prostitutes would call themselves seamstresses so they could carry scissors with them, and that these were the ones that were doing the scissor sharpening. So anybody that says sharpening scissors is a man's job in the English-speaking world, I think it was the women who were the ones that excelled in sharpening scissors. Of course, it was for sewing, not for doing hair. But I'm going to believe that they weren't really prostitutes, that they were able to help the very poor people remake their clothes so that they're maybe collect rags and made clothes out of rags, and that they did some sewing. So, but if not, I'm glad the scissors were able to serve a dual purpose of cutting fabric and protecting the women, whether they were prostitutes or just lived in a bad area of town. Yeah, I've watched some of those documentaries. It's pretty horrible what the poor people in London, what they lived through. My ancestors pretty much were already here in the USA by that time. And I imagine they carried scissors and knives and whatnot. I think I hear my granddaughter here. I hear her voice. Their hubby and her are traveling to Florida today. Gene to see his brother, and her just to be in Florida. All right, so I'm on the polishing. If you've been watching me on this, I'm just trying to sharpen these and get these nice and sharp and take off the least amount of metal, because the thing that ages shears is the sharpening. And if you take good care of them, like Larissa has her shears, she's very, very careful not to drop them. I hear my hubby here now too. When you drop them or cut things you shouldn't, then they have to be sharpened more often, and of course that ages your shears, because the more they're sharpened, the faster they're gone. So I'm going to feel and see if they feel smooth. That one still feels a little rough. Oh, that feels a little rough too. Maybe I should have polished more. I'm going to go over it with a nail buffer. I'll show some footage here where we met in the food court at Cumberland Mall, across from where the Galleria Mall, where the Blade Show was. And you can see here Grace looking at the different shears, examining the handles. I'm feeling roughness there. And here's some video shots of Larissa and me, and a photo of me and Grace. And I'm feeling roughness there. I'm going to see if I can polish it out, or if I need to go back to the abrasives. Let's see what this feels like. I'm feeling something right there. I'm going to go back. Yesterday it was so busy here. It was stupid, crazy busy. So after a few more interruptions with my granddaughter and husband heading out, I finished the shears for Larissa. I got them nice and sharp and smooth, and when she came in, she gave me a beautiful, wonderful haircut. So that's the saga of Larissa and her customized shears. I will be following this up with two things. Number one, I'll let you see the shears that Grace Horne designs for her. and that'll be something exciting. She's going to be using the 6-inch twisters to redo the handle. And then at the Sharpeners Jam this year in August, Larissa will be there, and she's going to give us her full inspirational story. I think you're going to want to hear that. Whether you're in person or online, you'll be able to hear her story. Hey y'all, I hope you're staying sharp. This is Bonnie Megowan, your red-headed sharpener here. And if you like this video, I try to post something every Monday. So make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you'd like to see more videos like this. If you're looking for the tools I used in this video, there's some product links and things in the description, and also you can go to the website www.bonika.com. If you've got questions or you want to connect with me personally, you can always put a comment below, but I've got a lot more links in the description below that will show you how to get in touch with me. I teach in person and online, as well as, of course, these YouTube videos. And let's connect, let's learn more about sharpening together.